Hello everyone and welcome back to Venue Diagram. I'm Clay and our venue this week is Nationals Park in Washington, D.C. Visiting Nationals Park was a very fun visit for me because it was my first time visiting Nationals Park. I've been to D.C. a few times. I love visiting D.C. This was my first time coming to the baseball stadium. So let's just jump right in to the venue overview. The first thing to go into here is a little bit of history about the stadium. The Nationals moved to Washington, D.C. in 2005. They had been the Montreal Expos. Hopefully, at some point, we'll be able to get up to Montreal and do a little bit of something about Olympic Stadium up there, a vintage venue diagram of some form. But they moved to D.C., became the Nationals, reinvigorated baseball in Washington, D.C. There had been the Senators, the classic moribund franchises in DC, the two Senators franchises, the classic Nationals franchise that was from before the turn of the 20th century had always been there. There's always been baseball in the nation's capital. But the Nationals moved back when the Expos moved to Washington, D.C. and played their first few years at RFK Stadium while this stadium was being built. And it's a pretty nice place. Overall, I'd say it's a good standard stadium. The nice thing about it is, again, the spaciousness is good. There's something about these mid-2000s stadiums, Yankee Stadium, Citi Field, Nationals Park, all built around that same time. Nationals Stadium here opened in 2008, and it has a lot of spaciousness. It's a nice park. It is the first certified green stadium, which is a cool thing about it, but it has a really odd nature to it. The thing that I most think about when I'm walking around the stadium, both inside and outside, is it feels like a mid-2000s mall experience. If you remember what it was like to be in a mall at that time, not like an 80s mall, not like a classic mall like you'd see on Stranger Things, but like the malls in the Grove in LA as malls were starting to possibly not be a thing anymore. That's what Nationals Park seems like. So you just kind of think about that and think about being in that space, but now, where it's kind of losing a little bit of its luster too. That's what Nationals Park feels like as far as a venue for moving around and being there. But it's still fun. It's still a nice place. It's still got some nice shops and got some nice open spaces again. But everything is very, very bare. That's the other thing. You'll go through a corridor and it's very concrete and bare. And then you'll go through like a doored off area, through another escalator area, and it's not like there's club seats or anything like there are at a lot of the other newer, nicer stadiums or refurbished stadiums. You're just kind of going from one place to another, and there's no decorations anywhere. There's a lot of decorations outside the stadium, but there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of decorations, at least on this interior, on the inside of the stadium. Over on the outfield part, there's still a nice little area. In any case, I'd say it's a fun place to see a game, but it is losing its luster a little bit. It had the All-Star game in 2018. It had the Nationals finally winning the championship in 2019. And I feel like maybe they need to refresh the stadium. I know that it went through a bit of a renovation in the last year or so. I think this year it actually had a renovation. I think it could stand a little bit more. I know that the sound system and the lights and all that stuff, they're like slowly redoing it, which I will say is a nice thing as we move into Section 2, the sensory experience at the stadium. It's not a bad place as far as the sensory experience because it's not very loud. Now, is that because the Nationals are not very good? Possibly. But this year, they really, really took it to the Braves, and I was here to see the Braves, and that was not fun for me, but it was fun for Nationals fans, although I would say, at least around me, there were more Braves fans than Nationals fans, which meant which meant that at this game, which the Nationals won, it was very quiet in the crowd because the crowd was more excited when the Braves did something well than when the Nationals did something well. In any case, it was quiet. And it was quiet as far as the sound system, and it was quiet as far as the fans, which, as far as a baseball game, maybe people didn't like that. But as far as me, I did not even really need my loops. Like, I wore them because I don't like that external cacophonous sound, and the just the crowd noise itself makes me very anxious at these games. But it was really kind of nice as far as the actual noisiness, especially as you were walking around. You could get to any place that you were trying to go without having any problems as far as going there. And nicely, there was a place to go for gluten-free food, a Repa Zone. And a Repa Zone wasn't specifically designed to be a gluten-free experience, but it was a gluten-free experience because the arepas are all corn-based flour, and so all of the arepas here at the Arepa Zone are all gluten-free, and since all of the arepas are gluten-free, then all of the fries and everything else that's cooked at Arepa Zone were all gluten-free. So I actually had a full gluten-free chicken arepa, which was really good, and fries. And so I had like a full meal, and there were all kinds of other arepas to choose from. If you eat the other stuff, there were other options. So as long as you eat an arepa, you're good to go when you go to Nationals Park. Really good stuff there. One last weird thing as far as the sensory experience at Nationals Park. I'm not sure that this is the right place to put this, but it feels like this is the right place to put this. They do a weird thing. And that thing is, they take a picture of the entire crowd watching the game. And it's kind of nice that they do it because it means that you do have, like I went to this game by myself, it means that you have a picture of yourself there, but you don't know when this picture is going to be taken. So they take it of the entire stadium, and they emailed it to me after the game. I guess they emailed it to everybody who was there. And this picture, which was of one moment in the game, which happened to be, I guess, between innings, because like you're supposed to be able to like zoom in on yourself in your seat. I zoomed in myself at my seat, and here I'll post it. You can see I am walking away from my seat to go to the restroom or to get a drink or something because it was between innings. And the thing I'm thinking is, I wish they'd at least done this during an inning where I could have been paying attention to the game. And secondly, I don't like that this, like, all-powerful camera is taking pictures of everybody. I know that's happening all the time, and I mean, it's not like I care that much about my face being out there. I'm putting it on YouTube right now, right? But still, I'd like to have control over it happening, I guess. In any case, comment down below if you like or dislike the idea of them taking this picture at some random time during a game, whether you'd like to have this random picture of yourself as you're getting up to go to the bathroom emailed to you after you've gone to a game. Let's move on into the event experience and get it over as fast as possible, because that seems to have been what the Braves tried to do in this game. The Braves did not have a good season playing the Nationals this year. It was kind of a disaster from start to finish. The Nationals won the season series against the Braves. The Nationals, who did not have a great year, really did take it to the Braves all season long. And they took it to the Braves in this game. And Hurston Waldrop started, so it wasn't like I even got to see like a great pitching performance from the Braves. It was like just a rotation of all the relievers coming through. I think the Braves scored 5 or 6 runs, but it never felt like they were in the game at all. And nothing could ever come together. And it was just one of those games that just drug. And you just never felt like anything was going to happen, which is kind of how this Braves season has felt most of the season. It was a really fun place to watch a game, though. So my seat was up in the place that I love to have a seat, which was basically behind the plate in the second level down from the upper deck. So kind of below the press box, but the press box at Nationals Park is very, very high up. They talk about it on the broadcasts all the time. So it was a little bit further down from there, but it was in that same general vicinity. So you get that nice like press box style view of the field where you can kind of see everything that's happening. And I love that because I love being able to see all of the different aspects of what's happening out there. So here you can see this fly out by Michael Harris, where you can kind of see everything from the crack of the bat all the way to the ball going into the glove of the outfielder. And that's what I want to be able to see at a baseball game, right? And so this seat and this actual lineup of how everything worked at Nationals Park was really good. As far as the big three and bottom three for Nationals Park, the bottom three, I'd say number one from the bottom three, it's time to refurbish the stadium. Let's just get in there, get some new stuff happening, just throw a coat of paint on everything, maybe post some photos of some of your players. I know that you've been rebuilding, so you may not have all of your players actually available to put up some pictures of them, but throw up some pictures of them. You've at least got CJ Abrams when you're not sending him down to the minors for off-the-field incidents. At least post his picture up a couple more places, something like that. Number two, and this is a weird one, and it's kind of tied into that first one, the outfield area behind the fence just looks bad. It looks cheap and not like finished. And that really bothered me, like in a very sensory type of way. It very much bothered me in a way that I was kind of distracted by. So I got to say, number one, refurbish the interior of the stadium. Number two, definitely refurbish the outfield area, like the hitting eye and all of that stuff, because it looks weird out there. And number three, if you're going to take this picture of everybody in the stands, at least let us know when it's going to be, like top of the third inning, so we know not to be doing something weird or strange or wandering around outside of our seat. Just give the fans the opportunity to make this kind of cool picture situation look good. On to the big three. Number one, really good gluten-free options. This Arepazone thing, please keep it. I had noted in one of your website situations, it said that you didn't have Arepazone anymore. It was really nice, and I really hope that you continue to have it, because it was nice to actually have gluten-free food for only the second time in all of these visits that I've been going to now, to have like a full-on gluten-free meal at a stadium visit. Number two for the big three is just the actual way that the stadium is built. This entire green zone situation, the way that it fits into the downtown of Washington, D.C. It's a little bit further along the waterfront, but everything about it and the kind of outside feel of it does feel really nice. And I really enjoyed being out there and walking to the park. I walked all the way from the train station to the stadium. It was very nice. The walk was about 25-30 minutes, but it was a good walk to get there and a good walk to get back. And number three from the big three is definitely just the way that the sound is diffused inside the stadium. Now, again, if I'm designing a sports stadium and don't have sensory issues, I probably don't want this, right? Like, I want something like Seattle's field is designed to keep the sound in and make it terribly loud and obnoxious for the opposing team. But for someone who does have sensory issues, the fact that it is quiet and feels much more like a very nice place to catch a quiet game on a quiet afternoon is very nice. So you may not like that if you're a very hardcore fan, but if you're someone who has some sensory issues, then you may enjoy it. So here I am out in front of Nationals Park, and another stadium is down, and another Braves game was another disaster. But this has been a great day for Venue Diagram. Thank you for joining us, and see you next time.